been significantly damaged, knowing that this game is going to move into a mid and possibly even a late game, because basically you guys have fortified your positions on the map. And at this point, it's a matter of trying to macro up the right unit composition and basically doing the harassment. It looks like we do have a handful of roaches moving out across the map, and Dig's Void Ray is going to spot that, unfortunately giving away his position. So these Hydras are going to be able to take this out pretty quickly. If he notices it yet, they are coming over right now.
Should be able to pick that off, no problem.
And that Void Ray goes down very quickly to those Hydras. Although it looks like 13 has a decent amount of cannons and stalkers in the front of his base. So I don't know. This is actually probably going to be a pretty close battle here. We have a decent amount of forces from both teams right now, and it looks like Jebezzal is going to back off. Although with the backup of these Immortals, they may be able to do some very significant damage. At this point, looks like Dig creating a hard wall off with a couple extra pylons there. And it looks like HastaLasagna and Jebezzal are both going to decide to hold off for the time being while they continue to stream reinforcements up here.
Probably a good idea considering we have the high ground there.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, in able to shoot up the high ground, you have to be on the high ground, which means they would have to get up this ramp before they were able to attack. And it looks like Dig continuing to be frustrated, despite the fact that he is still in this game and his economy is alive and well, and he's actually got an expansion up now. So Dig definitely having a little bit of a bleak outlook considering how good of a position you guys are in at this point.
Yeah, and if you look at the income tab right now, it looks like I have a pretty big advantage over the other three players.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest opponent to you right now is the Red Zerg player, who is actually a couple hundred minerals behind you. And it looks like they are still attempting to contain you. At this point, there are 4 Immortals sitting outside your base, so a very, very strong, very strong force for sieging. And it looks like Dig is extremely mad as he is typing in all caps. Did you get mad at him for yelling at you this whole game?
I didn't really get too upset with him. I'm kind of used to it whenever I play with him. But just a little bit of a disclaimer with Dig. He's actually playing on Averick's computer, which is basically a POS, a compact POS, I think is what it is.
Averick's computer is indeed not very good. Even with all the settings, the resolution cranked all the way down to the bottom setting, and all of the detail settings and shadow settings cranked on low, it still only runs at about 9 frames per second. So it's not an easy computer to play on.
Oh, man.
Anyways, it looks like we got an expansion going up from HastaLasagna, so he is going to be branching out from that high yield expansion, and a lot of Immortals coming out. 4 more Immortals, so he has a total of 9 Immortals on the map right now, which is an awful lot. I'm not sure if, well, you guys do have a decent amount of stalkers and cannons here. You may have enough to hold this off, but I don't know. This is going to be extremely close. And it looks like you do have an observer out in the front here to scout exactly what they are trying to do here. And we do have more Zerglings moving up as well. Actually, it looks like they are morphing into Banelings, so a lot of Banelings coming up now. That is going to...
it's like we're going to see a bust here.
Yeah, they may try to go for this wall bust with those Banelings. Although with the amount of range you have, I don't know how far they will actually be able to get in there, especially with the Zealots of Dig on the front line protecting these buildings from those Banelings' initial hits.
Yeah, definitely. Those Immortals are going to be pretty devastating against the Stalkers that I have. I'm going to need to micro them, maybe use some Blink a little bit there to kind of avoid just being decimated by that amount of Immortals.
Yeah, and here we go. The Banelings are done morphing, and here they come. They do have the speed upgrade, as you can see by their rolling animation rather than crawling around. And it looks like they are going to come up here and try to take out this wall, and a lot of Banelings going down. Couple pylons going down, although not as much damage as you would expect. He did get the gateway, so
they need to charge in now. I don't know what they're waiting for. They need to come in.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not attacking, but they did do a decent amount of damage. They didn't take out a whole lot, but they did punch a big enough hole here that they can pretty effectively get into your base if they try to attack right now, but it looks like they're going to hold off for some reason.
That is a huge amount of Immortals, man. How many Immortals does he have at this point? 12
Immortals, so definitely a lot of siege, and it looks like you're trying to build some more pylons and such out here, and blinking out to take on these Hydralisks.
I think I'm going to need to blink back in after this.
Yeah, and those Immortals coming out, and you, of course, decide that was a big mistake. And Dig, for some reason, warping in a couple of Zealots to just basically get fired down immediately. But it looks like these Stalkers coming out again, trying to take some of this on. Dig getting a carrier and a Void Ray. Of course, that Void Ray going down very quickly. But this carrier getting in the mix, and another Void Ray coming out. So it looks like at this point, despite the fact that you guys are overwhelmed immensely, you will be able to hold off this attack for at least for the time being because of the high ground advantage. And of course, some good blink micro here by U13.
Thank you, thank you. I think if they would have committed to this attack, you can see how quickly those Immortals took those Stalkers down. If they would commit to that a little bit more, they might be able to bust through.
Yeah, they do only have 10 Stalkers, so it looks like he did take 2 of them down. And if we take a look at the health bars, most of them still have almost all of their shields and health, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, but the shields, of course, come back so quickly. And it looks like there is more reinforcements coming up for both HastaLasagna and Jebezzal. And at this point, you guys have been pretty well contained for most of the game, although it looks like Dig is trying to take the high yield. Of course, Jebezzal does have that Overlord overhead, so he is going to be aware of that.
And he's quickly sending his units down to take care of that.
Yeah,
that quick
immediately moving out to take care of that, it looks like. And his ally, HastaLasagna, is right behind him. So, unfortunate for Dig, he is once again going to be stopped before he even gets started.
Not Dig's brightest move, I'd say.
It looks like he is starting to move some probes over to his expansion here, although he does need to saturate those minerals a little bit more. And he has started mass producing some carriers here. So, we'll see if this carrier strategy pays off. We do not see a whole lot of anti-air, only a handful of Stalkers from HastaLasagna, although we do see a decent amount of Hydralisks, about 14, I believe that is, Hydras, which are pretty strong against carriers, and they are continuing to expand across the map here, putting up another expansion just outside, although it looks like you were able to sneak an expansion out here over on the left side of the map, 13. So,
yeah, and I'm assuming they're not aware of that, are they?
I do not know. Let's take a look here real quick. Yeah, it looks like they are not yet aware of it, and Dig finally managing to take out these proxy buildings, although there is a big battle going on at the front entrance, and it looks like your Stalkers are frantically trying to hold this wall, throwing down some force fields to try to keep half of the army at bay, while the other half tries to get focus fired down by these Stalkers.
And we can see only about 2 Immortals are in range right now because of that force field.
Right, which is absolutely key for dealing with these with this large amount of Immortals. It looks like you have an Immortal of your own, although unfortunately it may not be enough.
Not going to be enough.
Yeah, it looks like you guys may be in some trouble here, as they are able to break through this wall, and a lot of Immortals starting to stream into your base to take this out. And it looks like Dig is trying to do a counterattack. Actually, you have some Stalkers up here as well, going to take out this expansion, although it is completely mined out as far as the minerals go. The best you can do is take out some tech buildings, it looks like, and stop his gas harvesting. Although Jebezzal is moving up there to take that out. And meanwhile, back at your guys' main base, it looks like these Stalkers are going to get focus fired down, and luckily Dig has some Void Rays, which are going to be able to take out these Immortals. Dig actually coming to the rescue here and managing to take these out before they are able to take you guys out. He did lose 1 Stargate there and a handful of Zealots, but it was a pretty good trade overall, because of course Immortals are very, very expensive. And at the same time, it looks like the attack that you guys were trying to do up at the high yield base here has been stopped. And you have gotten your Nexus up here, so starting to mine a little bit, although it doesn't look like you have ideal Nexus placement there.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there. I have nothing to say, really.
Fair enough. And Dig now has 3 Void Rays, although there's a 4th one on the map. He does not have it out here yet. I'm not sure exactly where that is. And it looks like at this point, 13, you do have some DTs out. And I don't know, is there any Overseers? I do not see any Overseers for the Zerg player, and no Observers for the Protoss player. So these DTs actually have the potential to do a lot of damage before any detection is brought. Where exactly are you trying to hit with these DTs right now?
Looks like I'm going for these units right now, but I believe I'm going to check the 2 expos right outside of their main, the 2 ones in the center of the map there. And
which
looks like, yeah, that won't be too effective at that point.
Yeah, there are cannons over here, but it looks like the Zerg base is completely undefended and undetected. Oh, and a lot of Zerglings coming in here now. Fortunately, you do have some DTs back in the base as well, and there is no detection back at the base. So these DTs
need to get some detection on this map.
Yeah, these DTs are going to have an absolute heyday with this Zergling Roach army. It looks like those Zerglings are going to get a few probe kills, but those DTs able to clean this up pretty quickly, it looks like.
And I have a few DTs up at the main base of HastaLasagna at this point, taking out some of his tech. But it looks like he has just a little bit of vision. Oh, he's got 1 photon cannon up there.
And he does have a couple of observers out now.
Oh, yes, I see.
So he is able to see those DTs when he has those observers nearby, of course. Dig once again complaining. Dig, you got to stop QQing, buddy. Anyways, these DTs moving out. It looks like Dig's still going with the Void Ray strategy. I don't see any more carriers for him right now. He is actually massing up a decent amount of Void Rays here. He does have 5 on the map right now, and it looks like if we take a look at his production overlay here, it looks like he is producing a couple more. Your DTs here moving in now, going to be able to take out some drones, and it looks like you may have even gotten the Queen here. How many kills do these DTs have? This one's got 7. This one's got 5 and 6. So these DTs definitely paying for themselves at this point.
I'm getting my money's worth with those guys.
Absolutely. Although it does look like there is an Overseer in the base of Jebezzal. So this DT harassment may be about over. Yep. And it looks like those DTs will go down very quickly to that Hydralisk.
It was
fire.
fun while it lasted.
And you are indeed putting up another Nexus. It looks like you got the placement right for this one. So
second time's the charm.
we'll be ideally mining at that base. But let's take a look at the income tab here now that we moved into the game a little bit further. It looks like you still have a slight advantage on everybody. Not as big of an advantage over HastaLasagna, but